Okay, in this tutorial we're going to continue working with the smoke and the fire effects, and I have a couple of more videos to show you, and these are going to be higher resolution videos, and but we're going to compare it with materials this time. So let's just take a quick review in the material setting here. We're next going to go to the back to the domain setting here, just so we know where we're at. We have, let me see, in this case 75 divisions I have, and now in the earlier videos I wasn't using the adaptive domain like I was showing you in the previous video, but I can't emphasize enough the importance of using this not only for the simulation when you're baking it, but also when you're doing the rendering. It significantly improves your rendering as well after the fact. And I'm not sure why that takes place, but it's a very good thing, I assure you. Alright, so that's set. But if we go into the material, which has to be set on the domain object, and here's my density at 0, here's this emission at 5 like we mentioned it before. Have some scattering set here just a little bit, and there's my integration step down there, 0.02. And then once you have that, then you want to add a material to it. Alright, in fact you want two materials if you want color, so I label this grayscale and color. So we're just going to deal with the grayscale right now at this point, and I'll just turn it on like this, and then the color we'll look at later. But this first setting that we're going to use when we look down here is, first thing is you have to select this right here, voxel data. Alright, so that's critical right up there. And next thing is, where is it down here? You have to select your domain object, which this is called smoke domain, in there. And then two other settings you need right down here is the density and emission set. Now what I have set here is density at 1 default, and then this emission I have cranked up to 3. So I'm going to show you the difference between this emission value at 3 and this emission value at 1, and it's significant. So let's take a look at the video first. This is the original one here. This is now 3,000 particles at a resolution of 145. Still, that the simulation, baking it, took about 30 minutes. Whole animation, 100 frames, was about 45 minutes. Alright, so let's see. So now it's starting to look pretty good. Now there's a lot of changes still to come in the future for this, believe me. This is just like the basics, but still you can see the resolution dramatically helps, right? And you can start seeing the smoke balls that go up there like that. You know, it really has a nice effect. Alright, now let's compare that, and that's with the emission set at 1. Okay, that's this emission setting there. Now, but now we're just going to look at it with the emission set at 3, which is this video here. And you can see it's dramatically better. Right, and still 45 minutes. Alright, now, so that's a really good start. But, and like I said, 45 minutes on a 3-year-old computer nonetheless. But if you don't have that adaptive domain setting, I estimate this thing would probably be more like hour and 15 minutes at least. Right, so that setting is really critical. Alright, and then so let's see, and then oh yeah, this is just kind of a hack video here. Now this is in white, and then you can see a little bit of the color behind it like that. So maybe I can show you that actually in real time here. So I'm just going to render this image here. I'll just run an animation on it. That's one of the really cool things about Blender. Believe me, when they did the rewrite at 2.5, they had really thought in advance long and hard about how to set this thing up. So let's just get the animation running, and you can see what it's doing. You see how fast that render is here actually? You know, just over a second and a quarter, like that. And that's because of the adaptive domain. Normally this would be running around, it would start at around 3 seconds, and then when it got up to the end where it was filling the screen, it would be more like 5 seconds. And I'm running this now at 1280 by 720, whereas in the earlier videos I was running 720 by 480. So this is significant. But now you're looking at this basic material that I have set, which is this one right here that I just call grayscale. Alright, there's no colors associated with it. It's just the voxel data set, the smoke domain set, and in this case the density at 1 and the emission at 3.0. I left everything else at standard settings. Right? But this looks all bright and washed out. You wouldn't think it would work at all. But if I came up here and just for the moment, even in real time, if I just turned on this color texture that I have, you'll see it's going to start rendering it on the fly. I mean, how cool is that? You know, I don't know. Blender is just too cool. All right. So now this, of course, is a much lower setting than the previous video. I'm only running it 75 divisions in the setting versus 145. So that's a good way to start practicing like that. And then in the next lesson, we'll take a closer look at probably the colors and setting the colors. But that's kind of, you know, where you start, it gets arbitrary to kind of do it the way you want to do it color-wise, because I'm not really interested in particular in just traditional smoke like this. Let's take a look here. So the animation effects are really nice. Their algorithms are great. But then you can see, you know, it reminds me kind of like a campfire smoke. It looks like smoky campfire. You know what I mean? Well, so I'm going to change that up dramatically for how I'm going to implement it. Part of the reason I'm doing the fire tutorials right now is because if you've seen the first 2 parts of that Witch Hex Stew story on my Sci-Fi Animator website, and I have the kettle in there. So at later in some point in the future, what I'm going to do is I'm going to composite some flames around the outside of that kettle and try and make the flames, you know, animate and give the kind of the illusion that there's a, you know, a campfire going on to cook up the kettle. Okay, well that's it for now, and I'll see you in the next video.